20 Game of Thrones cosplays that make us want to go to Westeros. It really cannot be a shock to anyone here that along with Game of Thrones came got cosplays. Why wouldn't that be a thing? I think it makes perfect sense. After all, there is a cosplay for almost any big name you can think of. Heck, there are even cosplays for things you would never expect or want to see. The only thing that doesn't make any sense to me about GA cosplays is that Jessica Nigri hasn't done one yet. I find that really strange. I used to think that if there was a cosplay out there, Nigri had done a lot better. Well, I was wrong. And I'm saddened. But that's okay because there are some very hot alternatives here with some awesome costumes. Now you get to take a look at people's hot interpretations of Daenerys, Catelyn Stark, Cersei Lannister, Melisandre, Valeria Sand, Margaery Tyrell, Sansa Stark, Yara Greyjoy, Sheep, and even Khal Drogo. That's right, even Khal Drogo. Trust me, she's worth seeing. 1. Catelyn Stark. All his life Tyrion had prided himself on his cunning, the only gift the gods had seen fit to give him. Yet this 7 times she-wolf Catelyn Stark had outwitted him at every turn. The knowledge was more appalling than the bare fact of his abduction. That's right, Catelyn Stark is one smart lady. But I don't know of anyone who watched the show thinking she was a super hot character. However, this gorgeous cosplayer here makes it far more appealing. Sure, she's got a very innocent sort of roleplay about her, but who doesn't like that every once in a while? I just can't even really picture Lady Catelyn looking anything less attractive than this cosplayer now. Which is really going to mess with my head when I go back and watch the show. 2. Sansa Stark. And yet, you betrayed me. When you brought me back to Winterfell, you told me there is no justice in the world not unless we make it. Thank you for all your many lessons, Lord Baelish. I will never forget them. Oh Sansa, thank you for finally growing a backbone. It took so long for anyone to really like her character, I think. But now there are even cosplays of Sansa Stark showing up. To be fair, I don't think a single one of them will ever come close to looking as hot as Sophie Turner, but that could just be my personal preference. That doesn't mean that we can't appreciate a good Sansa cosplay. It just means that they'll never quite amount to the amazing beauty that is Sophie Turner. It's pretty hard for anyone to. It's pretty well her and Natalie Portman, and we don't even have her in the show anymore. 3. Sweet Cersei. The only way to keep your people loyal is to make certain they fear you more than they do the enemy. Alright, so she's really not all that sweet at all. She's a horrible human being, and everyone knows it. But that's beside the point here. Because we just get to enjoy cosplays here, without her insanity. And I have to be totally honest here. The above photo isn't so much a cosplay as it is an baby for a Halloween costume of Cersei Lannister. In a sense, it is a cosplay because it's a model wearing the costume and sort of playing a role. But ultimately it's just a model doing her best to look hot. Of course, that could make this cosplay pretty accurate since Cersei did happen to say tears aren't a woman's only weapon. The best one between your legs. For some got inspiration. Never forget what you are, for surely the world will not. Make it your strength. Then it can't never be your weakness. Armor yourself in it, and it will never be used to hurt you. George R.R. Martin has got some pretty wise words throughout his books. It's a shame that not all of the worthy quotes make the show, but a decent amount do. Either way, the books and the show are inspiring enough to produce cosplays like this. This is no particular character from either the book or the show, but you could make a case for a Stark or one of their anime thanks to the fur. It's only revealing because it's a cosplay. This particular player decided to create a costume that could fit in the world of Westeros, without taking on a specific character. And I have to say that I'm glad she did. 5. The Map Queen. The only way to keep your people loyal is to make certain they fear you more than they do the enemy. I absolutely believe that this cosplayer would say such a line. She might not look like Lena Headey, but she does look like she could command as much fear. She has that look of cool confidence with an intense wildfire burning inside. And the photo is great because she already starts by looking down at everyone. It's just too bad that the Iron Throne she's sitting on looks like it has some red, blue and yellow Smarties attached to it. It kind of pulls the reality of the shot a bit. But if you stay focused on this cosplayer, damn, she knows how to work her character for sure. She's the praying mantis that everyone wants to be with, even though they know they're going to lose their head. 6. Tinder baby. Do you know what frightens me? I said farewell to a man who loved me. A man I thought I cared for. And I felt nothing. Just impatient to get on with it. The above cosplayer might not look like she'd say such a thing, but that's not important. Just look at how sweet and innocent she seems. Of course, is she anything like the character she's playing, she's got a lot of fire under her. And she looks like she could have. But back to that quotation, it is kind of sad to think that Dany never really loved the guy. And it's also sad to think that while Tyrion might now be in love with her, he has to watch Dany and her nephew get it on. Not probably what you want to think about while you look at hot photos of Daenerys Targaryen, but that's what you get. 7. Melisandre. I see the darkness in you. And in that darkness, eyes staring back at me. Brown eyes, blue eyes, green eyes. Eyes you'll shut forever. We will meet again. It cannot be argued that Melisandre is a rather strange character. Or at least mysterious. Especially when she's giving birth to weird shadow babies who killed for her. Oh, and that whole sort of seeing into the future thing. Of course, it hasn't helped that she needs to burn people alive for a really good glimpse, or to regenerate her powers. In the books, she doesn't really come across as very attractive, but she does come across that way in the show. And I have to say that this cosplayer does an even better job of being smoking hot, pun intended. Let's just say she certainly knows how to use her powers. 8. Khaleesi Drogo. Maybe I told the great stallion to go FCK himself, and came back here to wait for you. Even in a vision, Khal Drogo is pretty badass. This is the man who was going to go to where the world ends and sail the ocean to pillage the Seven Kingdoms for Dany. However, in this case, it's a very hot woman playing a role of Drogo. So, do we say Khaleesi Drogo then? This cosplayer does a pretty good job of cosplaying the character who's likely 4 times her size and built like a brick house. But she got greater assets than Khal Drogo did. 9. Margaery Tyrell. One of my husbands preferred the company of men and was stabbed through the heart. Another was happy as torturing animals and was poisoned at our wedding feast. I must be cursed? You know, it's kind of true. Margaery really didn't have the greatest of times in her life in Westeros. But whatever she was cursed with certainly did nothing to affect the way she looks. And it's amazing how almost every cosplayer I've seen who has taken on Margaery Tyrell ends up looking pretty damn close to Natalie Dormer. We may not get to see her in the show anymore, but there are women popping up all over who do a great job of looking like her. Now, the only thing is to find one of these lovely ladies, hopefully wooing her with a lance and a rose. 10. Daenerys and her pet. Woman. Is that meant to insult me? I would return the slap if I took you for a man. Oh, Daenerys has got some attitude, and I love it. And look at this hot yet hilarious cosplay. She's brought a friend along with her. Of course, it's just a plastic dragon, so it's hard to take seriously, but at least she focused on the spirit of the character. And what's great is this is clearly Dany from when she first started really rolling with the Dothraki. She almost looks like a peasant. But she got more skin showing because of that, so I suppose we can't really complain, can we? And she got that signature head of blonde hair with those ridiculous brown eyebrows, so you know she really trying to be accurate with the character.